Okay, so when we look at the component of a human body, we know that the human body is made up of three components: the spirit, the soul, and the body. The spirit, the soul, and the body. And what we get to interface with basically as human beings is the body of an individual, or beyond the body, what makes that person attractive, welcoming, hospitable, kind, joyous, interactive, can be traced back to the soul of that individual, right? And inside the soul, we can find the mind of the individual. So the mind, the will, the intellect, and the emotion. The mind, the will, the intellect, and the emotion of a person. So tonight we are looking at the mind design blueprint, right? So now there was a time that I was thinking personally that, okay, what's responsible for each individual language system, right? If you were born and brought up in a certain particular region, you grow up speaking that language, right? So there was no point in time that it was actually, how should I put it, as if probably the child was sat down and taught that language, but by the science of proximity and a wiring that we cannot really explain, the child grows up picking up the language and becomes very fluent in that language. Now, a wise man once said that children do not lack capacity. Children do not lack capacity, they lack opportunity. Now, each individual, regardless of your age, your status, you have to see yourself as a child. There's a need for you to consistently attain and assume a posture of the mind of a child. The mind of a child is curious, the mind of a child is all out for knowledge. The mind of a child wants to know how things work. The mind of a child is not in a place in the sense that it does not settle for less, right? If you tell a child yesterday that, oh, I'm going to do this for you, or you promise a child, I'm going to give you so amount of money, the child is coming back at that same time, coming back to remind you what you promised to give me. Is it ready now? The child believes everything. The child is ready to embrace. The child is open. The child is um there's a word I want to use now, but in a positive light, vulnerable. Yes, the child is vulnerable, but in a positive light. You can be vulnerable to good things. You can be vulnerable to things that will spoil you up. You can be vulnerable to things that will steer you up towards growth, increase in knowledge, increase in exposure, increase in personal self coordination. You can be vulnerable in that aspect. So when you look at the life of a child, when you look at the makeup of a child, you look at the positive part of that child, right? A child can be careless, but as individuals, as adults, we will not be careless. But when you look at the positive attributes, then you zoom in and embrace that attitude, right? Going back to what we are focusing on this evening, mind design blueprint. Now you are 18 years old, now you are 20 years old, now you are 24, 25, 26. The number goes on. How can you go back and design your mind? Because your mind was designed by people around you, your mind was designed by the school you attended, your mind was designed by your favorite TV station that you were seeing or spending time with while you were growing up. Those factors position themselves to design your mind for you, even without your knowledge. So now you think in a certain way, you expect things in a certain way, you behave in a certain way, you do things in a certain way because your mind has been designed to act that way. Your mind has been designed to give expression of things that you are aware of or not aware of. So now the first thing you should start doing now is, what is in my mind? Why do I do these things? Why am I behaving like this? Why do I tend to react to people that are of this age group? Why do I tend to let go of opportunities? Why do I take so course if you are still a student? Why do I take a particular course not serious or not taking it serious? Why do I hate some certain kind of people when they dress in some certain kind of way, right? Because you have to be knowledgeable about why you are behaving in a certain way. Now, I started with something the other time talking about vulnerability. Now, you have to be vulnerable with yourself. You have to do a self-analysis. Self-analysis, you get to know what is responsible for running that mindset that you have currently. Why is it that you keep settling for jobs that do not pay more than 200,000? Why is it that you keep settling for jobs that do not pay more than 250? Why is it that even after collecting your money, you spent all within the first week of collecting that money, right? Why is it that you don't like or do not want to learn a skill? Or why do you feel like government job is the best job that you should get and not work with a private establishment? Why do you think starting your own business is a waste of time? You know, sincere questions, right? Why do I want to get married at a certain age? Why do I want to do these things? Why do I sleep late? Why do I sleep early? Why am I attracted to junks? Why am I attracted to fruit? Why do I like some certain type of cloth colors? Why do I like some certain color? Why do I like some certain kind of design when it comes to some fashion brands, right? Why is it that I don't like giving out my items or my things or my stuff? Do I like reading? Yes, yes, I will stay on that for a little bit. Reading. Now, when people look at reading, they have this mindset that reading is about you focusing on text and reading with your eyes. Reading is basically you assimilating information. Reading is the foremost personal interactive moment that you have with yourself. Reading is the foremost interpersonal relationship that you have with yourself, Now, what are you reading? What are you consuming on a daily basis? What are you eating? Right? So now reading can be traced back to what you hear, what you listen to. Reading can be traced back to what you feel, Now, when it's raining, there's a kind of perception, there's a kind of sensation you have when it's raining. And I found out about myself of recent, when it's raining, my productivity tends to rise up. Now, when I'm talking about productivity is something that you want to do because at the dawn of every new day, you have your to-do list, right? You have your to-do list, and what will keep you going to ensuring that you accomplish all the tasks that you have on your to-do list, it can be attached or traced back to your productivity level. And when you look at your productivity level, you can also trace it back to your energy, your focus. Sorry, I'm just trying to write something else. Your energy, your focus, and resources, right? So I'll just go over that again. Your productivity can be traced back to your energy level, your focus, and your resources, right? Now, if a part of the scripture was saying that who is it that wants to like build a building and will not count the cost? Now, you counting the cost is knowing that, okay, now I'll use myself as an example. Now, I took on a project from a client, and the client tells me, okay, I want 3 thumbnail designs, I want a book cover design, and I want a social media flyer for this event just to popularize this event, right? Now, client has given out what he or she wants, right? Now, my resources that I have to look forward to it. Okay, is my application software, my design software, is it functioning? Okay, personally, what do I understand by thumbnail design? Have I ever done a thumbnail design before? Or this is my first time of hearing what a thumbnail design is. Now, when it comes to social media design, I might converse with such type of design. Okay, what kind of color should I subscribe to? So that is me gathering the resources, right? And ensuring that my resources are in place. Now, when you now come back to the focus is you being able to time block a certain number of hours to that project. So I can tell myself that, okay, I'm going to work between 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. to ensure that I finish 50% of this project. Now, my focus is being directed to a particular endeavor, right? And I need energy. Now, the energy is something that you cannot really touch. And a wise man divined divine energy as something that cannot be destroyed. Energy cannot be destroyed, right? But it can be converted. Now, going back to fixes, we have potential energy and kinetic energy. And the best form of energy that gets us moving, that power our productivity level, is the kinetic energy. Now, what makes you motivated? What makes you powered up? What keeps you geared up? What keeps you alive, right? Now, one of the things that I do is there are times that I eat some certain kind of food, right? Now I'm energized. I'm not trying to trace this energy back to food, right? Because outside of food, there's something that pumps us with nutrients, and the nutrients can be traced back to energy, right? Even when you are done eating a certain or particular food, the breaking down process still leads back to it being converted to some elements, right? Glucose and the likes. So your body gets to feed on them, but it is not certain that after eating you have the energy that you desire to channel to a particular thing that you want to do, right? And even research shows that when you are done eating, you tend to start feeling sleepy. So an individual that is feeling sleepy after eating, how do you expect that individual to have the energy needed for him or her to be able to accomplish a task? But what I'm just trying to say in essence that food is not the ultimate source for energy, right? So food can be a source, music can be a source, your environment can be a source, right? Now there are some people that when they go to like an open place, that is when their energy soar, it goes up, it touches the roof, it gets to the peak, and they get to do what they want to do. You know, they are just in an open space with their headsets on or with their earpiece plugged in, and they are doing what they want to do, like getting their task done, right? There are some people that go to an open field and they have that energy. Oh my God. So the energy is flowing out with ease, with ease. So now you need to know your triggers to getting that tap unlocked, right? And personally, I found out something that it was raining and my productivity level increased. And after it was done, like after the rain has stopped, and I'm like, okay, I don't feel like doing anything again. Okay, but at this particular time, I found myself being more productive. So what happened? I'm like, wow, it was raining. Now, when it's raining, what happens? People's outdoor activities gets to reduce, right? People are in a state of um, what's the vocabulary? People tend not to move around, right? They stay in a place. They try to hide, right? Now, at that point, I'm already hindered, right? But now I know that, okay, I can't sleep during this certain period of time and just sleep, right? I need to be productive. Now, my focus is on I can't go out. I don't have an option of going out, right? Now I'm now more focused on what I need to do. Then looking at that instance again, when it's raining, the atmosphere is cool, right? There's nothing like heat, Now, when movement gets reduced, noise pollution also gets to be reduced. And noise pollution is one of the leading cause for distraction. So once you get distracted and you've set out to do something, you end up not doing that thing at the speed needed or with the same efficiency needed to complete that task. So now those are the things that the rain did, right? Now, when it rains again, there's something about the weather. The weather becomes cool. It's not too bright and it's not too dark. It's just like mid-tone, mostly. And that kind of atmosphere is accommodating for the eyes, is visually appealing for the eyes. You do not strain yourself to like, because once you get to too much exposure to the light, there is a um let's spray it up. I'm sorry. Let me try and get the word correctly. Your eyes quickly adjust, right? Your pupil dilate or contract. You might want to look that up at your leisure. I can see the names of people on this call. They are not saying, let me not say nurses to them, but they are medical professionals. So just in case you are seeing this recording later on and you want to really, okay, learn about this, so you can just read about the eyes and light. Okay, how does the light eyes get to adjust itself to a bright light? And when you're in a dark room, what happens to the light? So you might want to read up on that. Okay, so now the eyes is not being strained, is not trying to adjust to highlight or low light. The lighting is just constant. Now, then when it stopped raining, right, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel like working on this project again. I just felt this reduction in energy level. And I'm like, okay, how can I repeat this cycle? And a suggestion came to my mind. I went to YouTube, I downloaded rain sound. And funny enough, there were kind of a lot of videos on YouTube that have been posted on rain. I'm like, God, why have I never thought of this before? Now, why did I share this story, right? I started from the part of the
Okay.
so sorry. Sorry. My mic got disconnected. Please, what was the last thing that we heard? You can just type in the chat box or mute your mic. What was the last thing I heard? Mr. Kinjide, are you on this call?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard?
I could not hear much because like my earpiece was not functioning. I'm just sending a message.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Ms. Oyin Consola, what was the last thing you heard, please?
Okay, you were talking about the noise sound on YouTube.
Oh my God.
Rain sound.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much. So please, at any point, if you can hear me, can just send in a chat into the chat box, and I'll do the needful. So sorry about that. Okay, so now I was saying something about noise being a distraction. Noise is a distraction, and when you have a certain level of light, either at the highest part or at the lower part, it's also not helping. That's a form of distraction. Now, a distraction is something that takes you away from your focus. A distraction is something that takes you away from your focus, right? And we've talked about focus, we've talked about energy, we've talked about resources. So at least you have a clear picture about what I mean, because some of my terminologies might not align with the definition out there, right? So any distraction is something that takes your attention from your focus, even if it's minus 5%, is a distraction. It is a distraction. So some people do well under noise, right? But the noise is not directly impacting on them, but it makes them feel isolated. And I made an example of somebody that goes to an open park or an open place where everybody is doing their business of the day, but this individual is just sitting there, probably has his or her headset on or a earpiece plugged in, and the person feels isolated, but still in a public space, right? Now, me using the example of a rain sound does not apply to everybody. I was just trying to share a personal experience of what I felt that I've not observed about myself in a while. When it was raining, I saw that my productivity level rose up beyond the normal level that I've been observing or that I've seen to have experienced in time past. Because the truth is that when you perform at a certain level, you know there's a certain feeling you have, there's this elation that you have, there's this certain confidence you have when you perform at a level that you do not normally perform at. We know. But now the question is, are you self-conscious enough? Are you self-aware enough that when I did that thing, it surpassed the level at which I was able to approach that thing the last time that I did it. Now, you now have to like sit down and ask yourself, what were the factors that were available? Was it that there was a particular figure, a particular person in the room at that time? Was it that I was listening to a particular song? Was it that I just finished having a phone call with somebody? Or was it that I read a piece online? Or was it that I just finished praying? Or was it that I just called my mom, right? You have to put those pieces together because those pieces were able to come together to ensure that there was an harmony within your soul. Because when your soul reaches that point of harmony, then you flow effortlessly. Like you just do things with ease. Now, some people use this drug to attain a level of alertness, to be active, right? But necessarily by design, you should not use a drug because these things also have their disadvantages. So you have to look at the natural applicable factors in your space that can help you to attain that level of productivity that you desire, right? And research has proven so that people that people that are in a healthy romantic relationship gets to get things done faster than an average individual. Notice the word average individuals. It does not apply to every other person that's not in a relationship. Now, because when you're in an healthy relationship, there's a way you have this level of productivity, peace, affection, love, and you have somebody like this person has my back, you get. And a part of the scriptures too was saying that two heads are better than one. So when your vision aligns, when your purpose aligns, you get to do things at a speed that is much more than an average individual. Hope you get what I'm trying to portray and get across. So mind design blueprint, right? So you have to be self-conscious, self-aware. What is responsible for my current level of productivity? Why am I not productive today? Some people will be like, oh, I woke up at the wrong side of the bed today. Please ensure you wake up at the right side of the bed, because a day is precious. Once a day goes off, that day is gone. That day is gone, right? And as individuals, we have to take documentation. Okay, today what happened? How did I spend my day? Okay, what were the distractions that I observed, right? Because you have to be intentional, you have to be sincere with yourself. And like I said, these things is not the same. What affects my productivity might not affect yours. What enhances my own productivity might not enhance your own productivity, right? And once you start seeing how your mind works, once you start seeing that, okay, anytime I take a cup of coffee or anytime I take this certain biscuit, once I eat this specific biscuit, my productivity level is always on another level. Okay, if I listen to a particular song, now I'm saying this because I'm saying it from a perspective of now right? But you have an assignment to go back and then start to be conscious, start to know. And personally, there are songs that I play for hours, right? It's always on repeat. And people in my workplace, they've discerned me as somebody that is always playing a song on a repeat. I'm like, guy, what are you doing? This song has been on repeat since morning. And I'm like, this is what is giving me inspiration. Because that song has helped me to attain a level of productivity that on a norm I will not be able to achieve or attain. And when you get into the workspace where you get to like sell like your product to clients, the client does not care if you worked on a project for 7 days. The client does not care. The client just wants his or her project done, delivered in an excellent way. So it's led for you to reduce the work time that is expected on an average. Now, if it's expected by research that okay, based on what has been recorded in this feed, this certain project should take like 3 days, right? And you're like, oh, how can I reduce this to 1.5 days? That means you have to get to a certain level of your productivity that is beyond the norm. You have to like streamline back to the things that you need to ensure that you deliver. And for you to deliver, your focus needs to be what? On point. Your energy needs to be at the peak. Your energy should be ranging between 90 and 98, 90 above, 90 above, 90 above. Because once your energy level start reducing, there's a way your brain works, there's a way your mind works. It wants to conserve, right? It wants to conserve. And once it wants to start conserving, then your focus start dwindling. Your focus starts reducing, like, oh, I don't feel like working on this project again. Oh, probably I just read a book, or probably I just call a friend, or probably I take a walk, or probably I go do my cooking. You know, there are times that I'm on a project and it's like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and I've not eaten. I'm like, guy, are you not feeling hungry? It was because I was engrossed with that work. My focus was on that work, right? But once your energy levels start reducing, and sometimes it can be as a result of glucose, it can also be as a result of glucose. Your energy can reduce because of glucose. So be discerning enough know when it is glucose, and also know when it has to do with something outside of food, right? And get rid of the distraction, get rid of what is not enhancing your productivity, and substitute it with something that is enhancing it, right? So now I'm going to just go back to a blueprint. Now, what is a blueprint? A blueprint is a specific proven method that an individual has accepted to be his own method for survival and for thriving. A blueprint is something that an individual has personally embraced and started practicing in his or her own life to what sustains or attain a level of survival and also thrive. Now you go for some seminars or events and the individual comes up stage and tells you about his own personal regimen. And regimen is something that each individual gives attention to. Now the regimen of this person might be that this person goes to bed by 9 p.m. But based on design, no, I can't do 9 p.m. I can do 12, right? So each individual's blueprint can be different, but be sure that your blueprint is working. If your blueprint is not delivering at the level at which you so desire, then you have to review your blueprint. You have to review your blueprint, and you reviewing your blueprint has to go back to your mind, right? Because the mind runs on automation. A larger bulk of how the mind works is from the subconscious mind. The mind works from the subconscious mind, right? And there are things that you do that you're not even aware of when that hard drive, not hard drive now, when the software was installed in your subconscious, and you keep finding yourself repeating that pattern, you keep finding yourself doing that same thing all over and all over again, the same way. When I started out as a graphic designer, and when you're done with the design, you're excited, right? That, oh, I'm done. Then you share your work with people, and people will critique the work, and then I start feeling bad. I'm like, can't you say something nice, right? And the individual will be like, there's nothing nice to say because the design is not nice to start with. So that is the reality of some of our outputs. Some of our blueprints are not nice, and we have to be sincere with ourselves. There's nobody coming to save you. You are the one that can save yourself. It is when you attain a level of productivity and affluence that people at that level will start coming to want to partner with you. That is when they will start coming to want to start networking with you. And don't feel bad that people are coming at that level. Feel good because you know that now I've grown, now I've scaled, now I've become a better person. Before the commencement of this section, I sent something to the group, and let me read it word to word so that I do not say something else. The write-up says, the more I work on me, the easier life becomes. It was my fault the whole time. It was my fault. Now you can see something about that write-up. That individual is taking responsibility that it is my fault. It is not the fault of the school that I went to. It is not the fault of my parents for not being able to maybe do some things. It's not the fault of the government system. It's not the fault of my workplace. It is my fault, right? Now, self-education outlives and far better than the normal education that you have out there. The normal education that you have out there is to an end. They want you to behave in a certain way. But by design, from inward, you know that, no, I can function beyond what society expects of me. Society expects of you to be well cultured, be responsible, have a job, and get married, right? Have a house, even if it's not your personal house, have a house, have a place you can call your own, even if you are paying rent fee till you die. Society does not care. Society just wants you to have a house and not be in the street, on the street, right? What else? Be able to send your children to school, even if the school is not offering the best of education, and pay your tax or pay dividend or whatever you are earning and gaining. So that is the blueprint. Now you personally have to tell yourself that my blueprint needs to supersede what the society is offering. And each country, each geographical location has a blueprint for the average individual. They want you to perform and behave and produce in a certain way, right? But the abnormal ones, which are the ones that have refused to embrace the norm, they have been the one that people read about, that are the ones that people celebrate, that are the ones that gets featured on the news, that are the one that we do our research on, right? These men they decided to not be that person because they clicked in with the inner person that was inward to give expression of a better person. So your grades do not define who you are. Where you're coming from do not define who you are, right? Your failed relationships does not define who you are, whether romantic or normal friendship. It does not define you. It is you that gets to define you. And the level of your divination will determine the level of your altitude, right? It will define the level of your altitude. Now, talk is sheep. To talk is sheep. Anybody can come on this show and talk, right? But why we are here, why we are having this conversation is to go back and start working on our blueprint, right? Now, after this contact section, now you have to be intentional about what you get exposed to. Who do I talk to every day? Who do I spend most of my time with? Are these people negative? Are they positive? Are they tongue lashers, right? Because there are people you should not allow into your inner circle. There are people that the best they can do is to react to your status. You should not have a conversation with them. They don't have a role to play in your life because you do not gel, you do not merge, right? There's that, when it comes to chemistry, there's something we call catalyst, right? Catalyst. They make a reaction faster. So you need such people in your life. You need people that when you relate with, when you bond together, you produce in thousands. So, and you have to give yourself that lecture. You have to lecture your mind. Your mind needs to know that these are the people that I should relate with. So that being said, I didn't actually plan to spend more time tonight because personally I'm not feeling too good. Like I'm under the weather a bit, but I just felt like I've been pushing this for a while and it is very important we have this section. So mind design blueprint. Your mind is your functioning system. Your mind is your mitochondria. That is the powerhouse. And the things that gets to give you an expression, a picture of what your mind will become, you can do an analysis, right? You can just look at your life currently. What are my results like? Now, your result is a reflection of what your mind has taken as its own. Your current results are a reflection of what your mind holds dear, holds valuable. So if you've succeeded in reading one book per month, or you've succeeded in upscaling your skill set by 5% in a month, that is the level of your mind value system. Now, some people mind value system are running at 100%, 90%, 80%, right? You see some people that are getting new skills every month, and you're like, what do you need these things for? You can't you can't relate because your mind cannot resonate at that level. Your belief system is not yet at that level. So now your conviction, your belief system, your core values needs to be worked on. Because if those things are not worked on, Those are the elements that are responsible for what you get to run after, chase after, and be obsessed about. And I'm a nurse, and I'm a nurse by profession. And when I was in school, then some instructors comes to the class, and then they project their certification, and then be like, is this not too much? They just make it into like a mockery matter, and you're like, why? But why? Why will you have all this certification? What are you looking for? At that time, we could only reason at the level of we just want to pass exam, even if it's 55, right? Let me just write my exams and go. But there were some students in that same class that they were thinking about how can I get 85? How can I get 90? Right? They didn't just wake up one day and start feeling like I want to have 90. It started from, oh, probably there was a day that a mom sat him or her down and said, oh my son, for you to become the pride of this family, you should not have less than 75% in your examination. Now there's a clause for you to become the pride of this family. We call it emotional blackmail. And most times, emotional blackmail works when it is used effectively, when it is used in a positive way. Now, this child comes to school looking aggressive, looking not playful, because now this guy is on a mission, right? And is on a mission to become or prove his, his mom. I'm sorry, his mom. If the person is an he, I mean a he, and a mom, if the person in question is a lady, a woman. Now this person is on a mission, right? And you can see that by the mission that this guy is on, he sets principles, he sets habits will be different from other people. When other people are making noise in the class, this guy is focused. When other person are making mockery of the attire of an instructor, this guy is not looking at the clothing of the instructor. This guy is looking at what can I get from this instructor laptop? What are the course pack that we should take in the second semester, in second year? Whereas we are still in first year, right? Somebody is already thinking about how can I get my hands on the course pack for second semester, for second year, right? Now, that is the thought process. This student is already thinking that, okay, after class, I'm going to ensure that I finish what we were taught today before 10 p.m. And bear me a witness, after class, this student is back to the hostel, do whatever he needs to do, maybe do his cooking or get his meal ready. And if there's a need to attend to any function, he goes. And by 8 p.m., he retires to a corner to read. And by 10 p.m., he's done reading. Now he comes out like the playful boy that we've been expecting him to be. Then he plays around the hostel. If you are playing a football game, a video game, he joins you. And by 11, he goes to bed. Now this young man is up by 5 a.m. again and is keeping to his regimen, is keeping to his rudiments, is keeping to what he has in mind because he is on a mission. He is on a mission. And before that mission came into the picture, he had a sentence from somebody whom he valued, whom he respected, whom he admired, right? And this is why most times we talk about you having a role model. You should have a role model. You should have people that their words are like magnets, their words are like weight. When you hear it, you start running, you start behaving irrationally but in a logical manner, right? You start being productive beyond what you expected yourself to be. So what we hear are directly and indirectly responsible to the things that make us. Because everything your mind is playing to you every day, it's edit at a time. Everything your mind is playing to you, it edit. It edit or it was read to it, right? So now, and most times, coming to the spiritual part, most of the dreams that you've had in years far, far back, you have forgotten about those dreams, but your mind did not forget. Your mind did not forget those dreams. So most times your mind even gets to replay some of those dreams to you, and you're wondering why you're feeling a certain way. Because most times you don't get to see what is happening in the mind, but you get to feel the effect of what is happening in the mind. So you have to be proactive. Oh, why am I feeling like this? Oh, why am I behaving this way today? Why did I react that way? Why did I talk that way? Right? Oh, what happened? Oh, did I had an encounter with somebody yesterday? Did I lose money? Or why did I just spend that kind of amount? Why did I refuse to give that person money? Because you know, in the scriptures, just said the poor you always have with you. And it's rare for you to go out in a day and not meet somebody asking for alms. Right? Please help me, give me something. I'm hungry, or I need to do something. Somebody will surely come your way. And there are days that I don't give. Like I'm not giving, right? And there are days like I gotta give up to like 2 or 3 people. So, and I'm like, okay, why did I not give today? And I start asking myself, why did I not give? Okay, and why did I give at this time, right? So, we have to be conscious of what is happening with ourselves first. We have to be able to lead ourselves first before we start impacting those around us. So, a leader that does not lead himself first, we end up bringing up followers and not leaders. A leader that does not end up leading him or herself first, will end up bringing up followers, and followers will remain followers. They will not become a leader, right? So I'll end with this. There's a book that I want to advise that I read, and I will send. I'll try and get a soft copy and send it to the group. The Mind, the New Psychology of Success. The Mind, oh, sorry, Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. So the book, soft copy, should be shared on the page. And I know we have people that do not like reading, right? And reading is beyond what your eyes is saying. Reading, you can read by listening also. So I will try and look around for the audio version of the book. If it's available, I will share. If it's not available, I will create it, right? I will create it and I will share the audio recording with us, and then we can benefit from it. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining this section. See you tomorrow. So tomorrow's section might be a bit longer or not, but still on the Mind Design Blueprint. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Good night, everyone.